Hello and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is August 9th and today's episode is going to cover a whole bunch of topics regarding the votes that are ongoing. We're also going to be talking about some people trying to short RPL and what might happen with that. And we're going to cover some latest DeFi opportunities and a whole bunch of other things. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Right, we're going to start here with the snapshot page of the Rocket Pool protocol, and here we have the bunch of proposals that are up right now, and we have the Aave 49 tokenomics rework that we've talked about for the last couple of days. We've got the node distributor user fund unbundling, we've got the MEV penalty guardrail and the balance submission guardrail votes ongoing. And what you might have noticed here is that all 4 of these votes have now reached quorum. So let's have a quick look at these votes, and you'll see that the Aave 29 has now got 19,000 votes with 90 votes against, and that is just as a joke from Snow. But we also have one person abstaining with 20 vote power. So let's have a look and see what they're saying here. Abstain, and they're saying good long-term proposal, all for it, but we need short-term fix for the existing node operators with LEP16s that can't bond reduce. So Halulu actually tagged this person on the Discord and talked to him about the ETH only validator idea that's being floated around the community right now. But yeah, this is actually incredibly positive. 19,000 votes, well beyond quorum, and all in favor. And here as well with the other 3 votes, we have 15,000 votes, we have another 16,000 votes, and we have another 15,000 votes. And for most of these, they are all going through without any issues, except this one has one abstention, and that abstention is from this person who didn't leave a message. So I'm not sure why they're abstaining, but there's one abstention for 755 votes, but all the votes are going through and all the votes have pretty much been approved. So that's really cool. I went into ETH Finance yesterday and I wrote up what's happening with the tokenomics. So I told people that we've got the work, the tokenomics work was a long time in approval and getting worked on with refinements and ideation and discussions and analysis and research. And I said that now it's going to vote, and the vote is 99.4% in favor of adopting the new tokenomics. And I said there's still some outstanding questions that will need to be answered in the coming months, but for the most part, this is what the community is going to go forward with. And then I also said that we are thinking of other ways of helping Rocket Pool grow in the meantime. We have Rocket Lend, we have NodeSet, and those will hopefully help the protocol grow. And on top of that, I talked about the idea of ETH only validators and how they might help Rocket Pool grow as well, and how that might be a solution. All of those solutions could be available in the next 3 to 6 months, with of course Saturn 1 potentially being 9 months or maybe even a little bit more away than that. So this got 48 upvotes, which was the number 1 post of the day on ETH Finance. And I had a few people asking questions that I tried my best to answer, and Halulu answered them as well. So thanks, Halulu. But otherwise, yeah, I'm just trying to get the word out about the votes. And Jasper, of course, posted about it on Twitter as well. And on top of that, we also had Anthony Cesano today talking about it on the Daily Gwei. So he shared this screenshot that was shared by Pateris through the Rocket Scan Twitter account. And it was just showing about how the different people will benefit or not, well, mostly benefit compared to now with the the new tokenomics changes. So, Anthony spent a few minutes talking about how people, including himself, are under collateral. He said he worked out it would cost him $60,000 or $70,000 to become recollateralized. It's just a simple market buy, Anthony. You can go ahead and do that, But all joking aside, that's a lot of node operators that are in a similar situation, that they're under collateral, and what we're going to get now is hopefully avenues for these people to start becoming more profitable and earning their rewards and getting better rewards than they were before. So yeah, the tokenomics stuff is going full steam ahead. It's really cool to see. Okay, while we're talking about the tokenomics stuff, we also got news that Marko was reducing the bonds on more of his validators, which was really amazing to see. I was talking about in yesterday's episode that he still has a lot of validators that he hasn't reduced the bonds for. Well, that's what was happening overnight. So I feel like, he's taking advantage of really low gas. Like each one of these is costing him like, $9-10, which is a very, very small amount of money. So that is really good because, within a few days, these bond reductions will actually be profitable for him, and then they'll be profitable forever going forwards, more than, regular staking. So this is really, really cool to see that Marko's been doing this. Like there's literally hundreds of these transactions. So, even though he spent a few $1,000s potentially in gas fees, the benefits of it will start to be felt really quickly. But now we see that the deposit pool is down to 25,000. I think yesterday during the episode when I was recording it was 27,000. So we just need another few days of bond reduction for him, and we'll be back under 18,000, and then he can start arbing the premium, because I think there's a little bit of premium right now. So that's really cool. Congrats, Marko. Okay, going to the forum, we got this post from Shfryn, and this is based out of his GMC work. And he says the title of the post is bloXroute Validator Gateway. And he says the GMC really met with bloXroute to learn about the Validator Gateway product, which has the potential to enhance effectiveness across Rocket Pool validators. Example data can be viewed here, and then there's a link to relayscan.io. And then Shfryn goes on to say bloXroute is a blockchain distribution network that gave a presentation at Rocket Pool's Denver liftoff. That video can be found here. You can go watch the video. And then there's some information about their Validator Gateway. So it says this: they have a relay proxy, which is a free service. And they have a blockchain distribution network, which is a paid service, and what they're trying to get to is 100% effectiveness, which is pretty cool. So they also answered some questions from the GMC members, like how would it work for small home operators, and said relays can be set up regionally and they can be purchased in various locations. Said how many relays would make sense for the entire US, possibly one per state or fewer if that's excessive. And then what happens if relay goes down? There's no risk as connectivity to other relays remains. And is it only profitable when maximizing timing games? And so node operators can manage risks by setting delays. And then the payment and billing is the GMC is interested in fixing the price per public key option. bloXroute is willing to accept RPL as payment. And then he said the GMC is seeking the PDAO's input. Please ask any questions you have below or provide any feedback. And then should the smart node integrate bloXroute's validator gateway? There have been 2 votes so far, one from Ramana and one from this other person who is PK3268. I'm not sure who they are. And Ramana said no, and the other person said yes. So at the moment we don't have much. Ramana said, I'm pretty unsure about this. Better effectiveness of Rocket Pool sounds good, but bloXroute is one of the worst relays when it comes to trying to use their public API endpoints, so I feel biased against them. Patches says that relay proxy seems unremarkable in the sense that bloXroute is already an approved relay, and having better RTT is strict improvement. I prefer the BDN decision to fall an individual node operator who can opt to pay for it. I don't think it's sensible for the PDAO to socialize the cost. I do think we should gauge PDAO sentiment before trying to integrate to the smart node. And he said, I mentioned bloXroute in Denver. That node, Rocket Pool node operators receive partial income per public key, and the pricing is less attractive unless it accounts for that. So yeah, if you're paying per pub key, then it divides out for 32 ETH, whereas for Rocket Pool, it's either 16 or 8 ETH, which of course makes it much less attractive. So I guess this discussion will go on before the GMC gets back to the bloXroute with a decision on how we all want to move forward. Okay, so next in trading yesterday, we got a bunch of sells coming through, and the ratio was actually doing quite nicely before the sells happened. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it was like 0.048. I actually saw it go up to 0.051 at one point, and then the selling started yesterday afternoon, and the person sold 10,000, and then there was a whole another batch here of 5,000. RPL, that is, and then another one for another 5,000, and it turned out that basically this person is borrowing. Here Halula was the first one to figure out. He says, I think they supplied USDC on Aave, withdrew RPL and sold it, so they're shorting RPL USD at $12.50. So it's quite risky. At that time, people started talking about how they could get liquidated. Like I said, what's the overall collateral health? Can they get liquidated? And Lulu had a look. And it says that if the short squeeze gets to 22, if the price increases to $22.50, then they'll get liquidated. And I think this was in $1 million position. So there's a whole lot of scope there of bad things happen because they bought with USDC, of course. Then the dollar price going up is what will liquidate them, not the ETH price. So if ETH gets a big move up, RPL goes with it, the person could get liquidated. But the reason why I'm covering this is a lot of people talk about the rules of crypto and how to survive in crypto, and one of the main things that people say is don't get blown up, right? Don't lose your position. And RPL has been a great token to short, in hindsight for the last year. If you had shorted it a year ago, you'd be doing pretty well right now. But the reality is that, at a certain point, shorting is going to become riskier or too risky, and you're going to get caught out. And we found that, a couple of months ago with the price rise up to $36, where, we had 100% pump in the day. That was based off the back of short squeezes. And with that happening, bad things happened for a whole lot of people. So it's that kind of situation here as well, where if you are taking that risk, be aware that RPL is an illiquid token and it can move very, very quickly. So unless you are very aware of what you're doing, don't short basically, because you will get knocked out of your position. So next we have the story from Jasper, and he says that I just took a Blockworks research institutional survey. Rocket Pool was heavily featured. POG. So Blockworks, for those of you who don't know, is a big crypto media company. I think they do some investment stuff as well, as far as I know, but their media arm is their main thing. And maybe I'm mistaken, but I think that's right. And Jasper, of course, is really well known in the crypto circles. He's made a name for himself, especially with his ideas that he shares regarding staking rewards and reworking that stuff. So it made sense that Blockworks were doing this survey that featured questions about staking and LSTs and LRTs quite heavily, and within that then Jasper was one of the people that they asked for his feedback. And there's some really interesting questions there. Like Jasper said, Rocket Pools featured really heavily. It was whenever there was an option about any kind of decentralized staking, Rocket Pool was mentioned in that. It was also talking about centralized staking options, exchange staking. There was some questions about LRTs. They were really focusing on the risks of LRTs and more about the decentralized nature of LSTs. So that was a quite interesting juxtaposition, I think. And Jasper kind of teased it a little bit. He says the survey was really solid. I can't wait for the results. Talked about stuff like client diversity, liquid staking, centralized staking, DVT, etc. So they really knew what they were talking about. And he says that the results will be out in around 2 months. So that's definitely a report to keep your eyes open for. And I will probably cover it on Rocket Fuel when the time comes. Okay, as we get, every couple of weeks, we get an update on using rETH in DeFi, and here we have Stake Rocket Pool, and this is from Regex Buster giving a new update, and he says that PancakeSwap is current highest rated APR on the Rocket Pool risk optimized DeFi sheet. He says you can earn up to 19.58% APR, and the RPL DeFi update is here. So the PancakeSwap once again is the top one, which makes sense. It tends to be the top one most weeks. And then there's some information here as well about these on layer 2. There's Balancer offering 9% on Optimism, Beethoven offering 7% optimism. Then you have Polygon ZK AVM. That's, I think the rewards have probably run out there. It's only 0.59%. With Balancer on base, you get up to 5.8%. On Arbitrum, you get Balancer giving up to 7%. PancakeSwap giving up to 5% basically. And on Gnosis as well, you have Balancer giving up to 12.4%. 12.4%, yeah. Which is really cool. On mainnet, of course, you have the best is PancakeSwap at 19.58%, and then Gamma actually at 19.57%. So that's for the previous 24 hours. And then you've got Balancer and Curve giving around 6% and 6.5% each. And then finally here we have the Balancer pool on mainnet as well, giving 6.4%. So there's some really, really good rewards out there. If you are interested in getting those, you can and you can find this document, the link to it, it's rpldefi.com, where you can get all the information. And it's just a Google Doc that has it updated from regex buster. So that is really, really cool stuff. We've got news of a new client update today, and this is from Lodestar. They have version 1.21.0 out, and they say that we've released some exciting updates we'd love to share in our 1.21.0 release. We recommend users upgrade to take advantage of some of the noticeable improvements we've been seeing on testing. Firstly, it's important to note that our Docker image now uses Debian instead of Alpine for the Docker build due to noticeable performance differences. This may break some tooling downstream, so please be aware if you're using our Docker images as a base for your setup. And then they say, we now follow the new standard to expose execution layer client info alongside consensus layer client info. By default, if the graffiti is not explicitly set and you haven't enabled the private flag as documented in Ethereum, blah, blah, blah. We hope this will provide better and more reliable information regarding client diversity on Ethereum. And then they say one of the larger performance upgrades in this release is using the NAPI RS BLST bindings, which has yielded much better results for important functions, such as our epoch state transition times. So you can have a look at that changelog, see all the bug fixes, dependencies, maintenance, and documentation. If you are interested in doing that, check out this release. If you are interested in using Lodestar, of course, is the minority client on the consensus side. It's the smallest, less than 1% market share. So if you're on Prism or Lighthouse or even Teku, then consider moving down to Lodestar to give them a bit of love. I haven't looked at this website in a while, and Geth is at 55% on the execution side. Nethermind is at 28%. Bisu is at 14%. Eragon now is at 3%, so it's gained some market share, which is really cool. And rETH is not listed here yet, but I guess they'll list rETH soon also. But Geth being below 60% is nice. I'm hoping that we can get it down to below 33% eventually. That would be really cool. Okay, and finally we're going to finish with some political news again. We covered yesterday that the Democratic Party seems to be moving towards positivity towards crypto space. Well, there was a town hall yesterday. Crypto executives talked to Democratic leaders, and let's see what they said. So here is the link to the article by Eleanor Terry. Actually, let's have a look at her tweet. So she says, new from me, crypto executives clash with Democratic leaders in a heated Zoom meeting. The juicy details from Ro Khanna's second meeting with crypto industry executives, advocates, and White House officials. So let's have a look and see what it says. It says that a virtual confab designed to repair relations between the crypto industry and the Democratic Party turned ugly Thursday morning, underscoring the uphill battle progressive crypto advocates are trying to glean industry support for the presidential candidacy of Kamala Harris. Fox Business has learned. It says the Zoom meeting was hosted by California Congressman Ro Khanna with the goal of mending fences during a contentious election year with a burgeoning industry that has been the target of massive regulatory crackdown unleashed by the Biden administration's financial regulators. With the Vice President Kamala Harris now at the top of the ticket, the party is looking to help Harris, its 2024 nominee, win back crypto votes from her GOP opponent Donald Trump, who has recently embraced the industry and vowed to make the US the top crypto capital of the world. So there's some information and there's some pictures and stuff, and you can have a look. But one of the things that was that was interesting was Laura Shin here highlighted a passage. It says, another terse moment occurred when Adeyemo told attendees that banks and regulators were not actively trying to cut the industry off from the broader financial system. In response, a crypto executive asked those on the call for a show of hands of those of whose firms have been denied banking services because White House policies. According to two attendees, nearly all the industry representative raised their hands. Now, you might be able to say like, oh, this is the remnants of the Biden administration, and this doesn't represent Kamala Harris's perspective for when she might become president. And I think that might be a fair response. But the issue is that, we need better and clear guidelines and policy position and stances coming from the Democratic Party as soon as possible. Donald Trump has been pretty clear with that to let us know where he stands with crypto now. RFK Jr. has been clear with that. The Democratic Party, of course, has not. And you might be able to, forgive them by saying that, Kamala Harris has just launched her campaign. It's new and there's still a long way to go. But the fact of the matter is that, the crypto vote is quite substantial. And I think some people in the crypto space are actually waiting to hear what the Democrats have to say for themselves before they make a decision one way or another. But on that note, I'm going to end today's episode. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all have a lovely weekend ahead. And I'm really excited because the soccer season is starting in the UK. So my favorite team's playing tomorrow. So it's new season. They're full of hope and optimism, as we usually are at the beginning of the season. It might take a few weeks before it's dashed. But anyway, thank you all. I'll see you on Monday. Bye.